Page 47. I can still see it. A diagram of soil layers, a shovel drawn at an angle, and a sentence in bold. Annual cultivation improves aeration and root penetration. I photocopied that page for my students every September for 15 years. I could explain soil structure in my sleep. Aggregates, pore space, gas exchange, the whole lecture. So when I got my own garden at 55, I did exactly what the textbook said. I picked up a shovel and dug. 3 springs in a row. Every March, as soon as the frost loosened its grip, I was out there, turning each bed to the depth of 1 shovel blade, about 25 centimeters. It was hard work. My back reminded me every evening. I'd stand in the kitchen doorway stretching, and the beds behind me looked like a plowed field, raw, broken open, exposed. I thought that was good. I thought I was giving the soil what it needed. The 3rd spring, something bothered me. I was digging bed number 4 when I noticed the soil looked the same as year 1. Pale brown, dry, clumpy. It crumbled into dust when I squeezed it. 3 years of work, and this soil hadn't changed. I put down the shovel and picked up a handful. No smell. Healthy soil has a smell. Dark, damp, almost sweet. This smelled like nothing, like a classroom floor. There was 1 bed I hadn't dug. Bed number 9, in the back corner near the fence. I'd run out of energy the previous October and left it covered in leaves. I told myself I'd get to it in spring. I never did. The leaves sat there all winter, then all summer. By the 3rd March, I'd almost forgotten about it. I walked over, pushed the leaves aside with my boot. The soil underneath was different. Not a little different, completely different. It was dark, almost black. When I knelt down and pressed my fingers into it, they sank in. No resistance. Soft, moist, cool. I pulled up a handful, and it held together in a loose ball, then fell apart gently when I opened my hand. There were white threads running through it. Fungal hyphae, I realized. The kind I used to draw on the blackboard in Unit 7. I had drawn them for years and never once seen them alive. I sat back on my heels and looked at bed 4. Pale, dead, dug. Then bed 9. Dark, alive, untouched. Same garden, same rain, same sun. The only difference was me. Bed 4 had my attention for 3 years. Bed 9 had my neglect, and neglect won. I remember sitting there between the 2 beds for a while, just looking back and forth. A breeze came through, and I could smell the difference. Bed 9 had that rich basement after rain scent. Bed 4 smelled like a parking lot. It's a strange thing when the textbook you taught from turns out to be wrong. Not wrong exactly, but incomplete. Like a map that shows the roads but leaves out the rivers. The diagram on page 47 was correct about gas exchange. Oxygen does need to reach roots. What it didn't mention was that the soil already has a system for that. Earthworms bore tunnels. Fungal networks build channels. Roots decay and leave pathways behind. The soil aerates itself, slowly, quietly, on a schedule measured in seasons, not weekends. Every time I drove that shovel down, I was tearing through a network that had spent months assembling itself. Like rearranging a classroom every Monday and wondering why the students can't settle down. That October, I stopped digging everything. Covered the remaining beds in leaves, cardboard, whatever I had. I didn't buy anything. I didn't build anything. I put material on top and walked away. It was the hardest thing I'd done in the garden, not because it was work, but because it wasn't. I'm a person who does things. Standing back and trusting a process I can't see goes against every instinct I have. 8 months later, in June, I checked. Bed by bed, lifted the edges of the mulch like turning pages. Every bed had changed. The soil was darker. The texture was different, granular, open, alive. I found earthworms in all of them. I found fungal threads in most. I pushed a pencil into the ground, and it went into the eraser with no effort. That's aeration. Not from a shovel, from a system that's been doing this since before there were shovels. A robin was pulling a worm from the edge of bed 9. It tugged, waited, tugged again. Patient. The worm came free, and the robin flew to the fence with it. I watched the whole thing. It took maybe 40 seconds, and it felt like a lesson I should have learned a long time ago. I still have that textbook on my shelf. I don't throw books away, old habit. Sometimes I open it to page 47 and look at that diagram. The shovel, the arrows, the neat layers. It's not wrong. It's a map. And I spent 3 years following a map instead of looking at the territory. Tomorrow, what I saw when I stopped digging and laid down leaves. 6 months of waiting. 6 months of wondering if I'd made a mistake.